Let's go to Mike Spofford. He is the senior writer for Packers.com, so he can tell us all about Green Bay, at least what little we have left after talking about this week.
And
Mike,
I'm sure
welcome to the
Mike
show.
hadn't talked about it, but all week long, too. Hi, Mike. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, you bet. Thanks for having me, guys.
Okay, we just had our picks for the week, Mike. I'm going to start you off with a hard one. Les is kind of floating around. He's on the fence. He's picked the Packers all week, and I'm trying to talk him out of that. And he said, well, how much time? He wants to wait till the middle of the second quarter before he really makes his pick. I'm telling him with the emotion of the owner and with the Broncos having a bye week, even though we know the Packers had a bye week, the Broncos are going to figure out some way to play offense. And
they're also wearing the uniforms, the exact uniforms they wore beating the Packers in the Super Bowl.
Well, that would be the all blue, I would guess.
Blue tops, white bottoms with the big orange Nike swoosh.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Mike, that's
Mike,
probably,
you scared now?
That's so tell him why he made the right pick and that I made the wrong pick, Mike, if you agree with that.
I picked the Packers.
You picked the Packers?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, this game is about as good a toss-up as you can find. It's two 6-0 teams that have their share of flaws, right? I mean,
yeah.
The Packers' offense has not exactly been clicking. You know, those last few weeks before the bye, they're getting some guys healthier. Devontae Adams will be back. Eddie Lacy is healthier, getting past an ankle injury. So, the Broncos have great defense, just like the Packers do, but they haven't exactly been clicking on offense either. I would say maybe because the Packers are getting back some of those offensive weapons, maybe the edge goes to them. But it's a flip of a coin game for sure, especially being out there in prime time.
Well, let's talk about some of those guys. Starks, is he going to be, you think, healthy enough to really be a major contributor as he's been in the past? So tell us about a few of the guys. You got a safety coming back that hasn't played much at all this season, and some health problems. So how are those? Do you think those guys are going to be contributors?
The two guys that look for sure to be back to their regular roles would be Devontae Adams at wide receiver and then Morgan Burnett at safety. Burnett's only played one game out of the 6 so far this year. So. Adams hasn't played since the opening series of the Kansas City game on Monday night back in Week 3. So, but those guys are back. I think they both play big roles for the Packers. James Starks probably more of a question mark for this game. He missed practice on Wednesday. He was back at practice on Thursday, but a hip injury, you wonder. I mean, how many carries are you going to give a running back with a hip injury, especially if Eddie Lacy now is a little bit more back to his old self? At least that's what Eddie told reporters yesterday in the locker room. So Ty Montgomery for the Packers, the rookie receiver and kickoff returner, is also questionable with his ankle injury. He hasn't practiced this week, to my knowledge, so the Packers may have someone else in the return game. But with the mountain air and whatnot in Denver, I can't imagine there are going to be a whole lot of kickoffs that aren't touchbacks anyway.
Hey, Mike, when you look at the schedules of the two teams, we here in Denver keep saying that the Broncos really haven't had a great test yet. And would you say the same thing about the Green Bay Packers?
There's maybe some validity to that, although I would say, I mean, playing the Seattle Seahawks in Week 2, I know the Seahawks have 3 losses, but that's still an awfully good team, I think, and I think Seattle is going to be right in the mix in the NFC when it's all said and done. The Packers were able to beat them at Lambeau Field, first time they'd gotten them at Lambeau in a while. But yeah, the schedule, the remaining schedule for the Packers, I think, has more tests than what they've faced so far. Denver this week, Carolina currently undefeated. The Packers go to Charlotte next week. They still have the 2 division games left against Minnesota. They have a road game at Arizona, a home game with the Cowboys late in the year when the Cowboys should have Romo and Bryant both back at full strength. So I think the Packers have plenty of tests coming up to see just where they stand.
Interesting. All week long, all the talk, and I'm sure it's been the same way back there, Mike, about this game, and the two people I haven't heard discussed all week that I think one of them will end up making a difference. One of them actually played here in Colorado and has been one of the most dependable kickers in all of football for a long, long time. So if anybody knows how to play at altitude, it will be Crosby. And McManus has just been named the Special Players Team of the Month. Do you think this game, because you described it well earlier, Mike, when you said both teams are flawed. It's like a beautiful divorcee that's 48. And you go, man, that's a beautiful lady, but obviously she's got flaws. So forgive me, you're not that old. But
that's okay.
But it could. So I mean, it's almost trite to say it could come down to the kickers, but both these guys are excellent kickers. So is that possible that those two guys will decide this game?
I think that's definitely possible, and I think the strategy with these kickers, as we go into this game, with the way these defenses play, and with the fact, as we talked about, that the offenses, neither one of these offenses has really hit full speed yet. You may have some opportunities in this game for some long field goals, but do you, if it's the second or the third quarter, do you want to try a 55, 58, 59-yarder where, a miss is going to give that other quarterback darn good field position, but yet, playing in Denver and with the legs that these kickers have, these guys are capable of making 60-yarders. We know that. So I think strategically it's going to be very interesting, when the ball gets to the, say the across the 50 to the 40-yard line, and then a drive stalls out. What's the decision going to be? I think those strategic moves could play a really big factor in this game. And then obviously, as you said, it could come right down to a kick at the end if these defenses play the way they've been playing and keep the score tight. It definitely could come down to one final drive for 3 points.
Mike, the coach in Green Bay, McCarthy, doesn't show us a lot of personality. I mean, he's just not a big personality. He's not Pete Carroll. He's not Tomlin. He's not one of those guys. Yet when you look at his record, you say, wow, 10 years, the best winning percentage in the game over this last 10 years of any head coach. Is Mike McCarthy underrated as a head coach? Is he overrated as a head coach, or is he just right?
You've been in this business for a long time. You don't have much of a personality, but you've been very successful.
Amazing.
I don't know that you have to be animated on the sidelines to be a great coach.
I know, but we don't know a whole lot about him because he doesn't show us a lot. So what is he, Mike? Is he underrated, overrated as a head coach? What is he?
Well, he's definitely not overrated in my mind. I do think McCarthy flies under the radar a little bit when people talk about who the top coaches are in this league. Certainly, he's had two quarterbacks other than the 1 year Rodgers was injured.
Yeah, that's helped.
He's had two quarterbacks in his span as a head coach. He's had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. So there's a lot to be said for that. But he's also had a lot to do with the development of both of those guys. And I guess in regards to Favre, Brett Favre's statistics the last couple of years before McCarthy arrived were not exactly earth-shattering by any means. And then in 2007, had a tremendous year under McCarthy, and the Packers got all the way to the NFC Championship game. Aaron Rodgers has been groomed pretty much from the beginning by Mike McCarthy and Tom Clements and other coaches on the staff here. So there's a lot to be said for always being so solid at the quarterback position, and he's built offenses. He's said it many times that are designed to make the quarterback successful, and that's what this game is based on. So, has McCarthy had to try to win with other quarterbacks? Only for half a season in 2013, and that didn't go so well. But you know how it is to have a sustained run of success in this league, and just the fact that Mike McCarthy's been to the playoffs 7 out of 9 times as a head coach says a heck of a lot about him, I think.
Mike, really appreciate your time. Will we see you on Sunday night in the press box?
Yeah, you bet. I'll be there.
All right, Mike Spofford, go read his stuff at Packers.com.
But I assume you're flawed a little bit, Mike.
What's that?
We have a picture of you on our 70-inch screen TV, and I can tell you're a handsome man, but I assume you're a little flawed too.
Yeah, well, we've all got our issues.
Yeah, what's your Twitter handle?
Just at Packers. The Packers website is we go through the team Twitter.
Great. Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
Keep up with your
We'll
son.
see you Sunday.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, and that segment brought to you by John Elway, Cadillac Apartmentos.
When you go to buy a car, what do you really want? You probably want a lot of cars to choose from. And you want the dealership's best price. Not some starting price or target price, the best price. And you want it immediately, not after hours of negotiating. And you want a salesperson who doesn't get paid more if you spend more. Because, well, you don't want to spend more. Well, you're in luck. John Elway wants all of those things too. Better yet, John Elway wants you to have all of those things too. Come see us or click on johnelwaychevrolet.com.